I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at the age of 20 as I was just completing my undergraduate degree. So I should have been planning for life after uni, but instead was attempting to come to terms with my new diagnosis and juggling hospital appointments with deadlines. My diagnosis meant that I had to reconsider my career in festival management and opt for something that was more tolerable for my body. Since graduating, I've taken on a number of private and public sector roles, my experiences of which I'm going to talk to you about today. My first graduate position was with a private sector organisation. It was implied that the position was office-based, and although I had advised them of my condition, I later discovered that there was an expectation to go off the site to collect data. This meant I was on my feet for hours at a time, which would leave me in a delicate state for days, even the week that followed. Whilst the position gave me invaluable experience, the organisation didn't understand my physical restrictions, and it was difficult for me to express any concerns that I had, as there was no dedicated HR representative. My second position was as an events coordinator at a local hotel. I explained that I couldn't physically set up events or serve, but I was more than capable of the other aspects of the role. Despite reassurances that I would not be expected to do these tasks, the reality was actually very different. If tasks weren't completed that were outside my physical capabilities, then I was made to fear that I would be dismissed. Again, there was no HR department to raise my concerns with. I felt my condition made me an easy target as there was no concern for my well-being. I feared going to work, I was crippled with anxiety and actually physically in tears on my commute in every day. I was eventually signed off sick by the GP due to a severe flare-up which was caused by the physical demands of the job and the emotional toll it had on me. Eventually enough was enough, and concerned for my health, I handed my notice in, and I eventually required 6 months off to recover. I eventually signed on, and the advisors agreed that I wasn't actually capable of applying for any old job, and I was actually assigned a disability advisor. I promised myself that I would not work for an organisation that did not have a dedicated HR department again. Whilst I'm sure there are organisations without a department that are good employers, I personally need the reassurance that I could express my concerns with someone. I applied for a position at a council to ease myself back into work. The role built my confidence back up within the workplace within weeks. I was offered a permanent role. I felt confident expressing my health concerns, and if there was something that could be done to make my role more comfortable, it was no trouble, even down to adapting my role to accommodate my condition. Eventually, I decided I was ready to go back to university to complete my master's degree in order to retrain in arts and cultural management, which would be much more realistic as a career than my original plan. Upon completion of the master's, the council offered me my position back until I found a more suitable role. And they gave me additional responsibilities, which in a way, work-wise, made me feel that I was beating my condition. I was unable to work full-time and had a high level of sickness absence, and unfortunately on this occasion there was actually a member of staff who felt it was appropriate to make personal comments about my condition. The fact that I walked differently, that I wasn't normal. And this made me very self-conscious, and I wondered if other colleagues thought this too. I did lodge a formal complaint, but it was the first time in the workplace that anyone had mocked my condition, and management didn't fully appreciate the severity of the situation at first, but accepted that this behaviour should not be tolerated under any circumstances. And they set out to educate the team leaders as to how to deal with instances such as this in the future. After a year, I landed my position, an actual position in the field that I trained in under another local authority, and I've now been in my current position 9 months. I have never ever felt so settled, supported or valued as I do in this role. Before I even started, an appointment had been arranged with occupational health to see if there were any adjustments that could be made so that everything was in place for my first day. I have a manager and colleagues that look out for me on a daily basis, and I can also work on a flex basis, which allows me to accommodate for early morning stiffness, and if I'm having a particularly bad day, I can work from home. This flexibility and communication, I believe, has been so important for my well-being mentally and physically. RA is a difficult condition to come to terms with anyway, and while some people find it difficult to talk about, I have found that being open and honest about my condition has led to people understanding more about invisible illnesses and just are generally more accommodating. My employer is also fully understands that I need from time to time take leave to attend medical appointments. I would encourage anyone who feels comfortable discussing their condition to do so, as it could make your working life that much easier if your colleagues have a little bit of understanding as to what you're going through. With regards to applying for conditions, I would recommend researching a company thoroughly with regards to their HR department, or even contacting them, just calling them up and asking what support is in place for people with long-term conditions. A supportive employer essentially creates a productive employee. My experience has been that companies without a dedicated department tend not to necessarily have the knowledge or the understanding or the resources to deal with health conditions in the workplace. But this isn't always the case for, obviously, a lot of organisations. And I strongly believe, though, that if you have confidence in your employer, this will have a positive effect on your actual condition as well.